Warlord Grev had a reputation to maintain. Across 6 sectors of the Outer Reach, he was known as the Crimson Fang, commander of 11 warships, conqueror of 4 independent stations, and the undisputed authority on who paid tribute and who paid consequences. Species twice his size had looked at his fleet on their scanners and immediately begun composing very apologetic messages. He had a trophy wall. He had a throne made from the hull plating of a rival's flagship. He had, in short, never once been made to look foolish. That was about to change. The human outpost at Relay 7 was small by any standard. A mid-rim resupply station, lightly armed on paper, staffed by a skeleton crew according to the intelligence his scouts had provided. Grev had reviewed the data twice and concluded this was less a military operation than a warm-up exercise. Something to add to the trophy wall. Something to tell stories about. He opened the fleet-wide channel with the gravity of a man who understood his own importance. "All ships," he said, "begin approach. Target their communications array first. I want them unable to call for help before they understand they need it." His fleet moved in perfect formation. 11 ships. The humans had 1 station and whatever passed for a defensive grid on a resupply outpost. The math was, in Grev's professional opinion, not complicated. Warlord, his tactical officer Pren, looked up from his console with an expression Grev didn't immediately recognize. "Their station just hailed us." "Put it through," Grev said, settling back in his command throne. He enjoyed these moments, the desperate pleading, the offers of tribute, the particular sound a civilization made when it realized it had run out of options. A human voice came through. Female, calm, in a way that suggested either profound stupidity or profound confidence. And Grev was about to assume the former. Unidentified fleet. "This is Station Commander Sarah Cole, Relay 7. You are approaching a United Earth installation. Please adjust your heading or we'll have to make your day considerably more inconvenient than you planned for." Grev smiled. Considerably more inconvenient. He had the Crimson Fang fleet, and she had a resupply station. He opened the return channel. "Commander Cole," he said, letting her name sit in his mouth like a trophy already claimed. "I am Warlord Grev. I have 11 warships. You have a fuel depot. I would recommend reconsidering who is inconveniencing whom." A brief pause. Then 11 ships. "Okay. Give us just a moment." Grev frowned. "Give us a moment" was not a response he had encountered before. Comment return if you already know where this is going. What happened next took approximately 4 seconds and required no weapons fire from the station whatsoever. Every system on every ship in Grev's fleet went dark simultaneously. Not damaged. Dark. Powered down with the clean totality of a system that had been reached into from the outside and simply switched off. The bridge of Grev's flagship went black, then red as emergency power kicked in, casting everyone in the particular unflattering light of a situation that had gone wrong before it technically started. Around him, his officers stared at their dead consoles with expressions ranging from confusion to the early stages of existential reconsideration. "Warlord," Pren said very quietly, "our weapons are offline, navigation is offline, shields are—" "I can see that," Grev said. Cole's voice returned, pleasant as a morning weather report. "Still there? Good. Your systems will come back online in about 10 minutes. We've taken the liberty of logging your fleet's registry, biometric profiles, and current coordinates with the UEN Outer Reach Command. Have a lovely day." The channel closed. Grev sat in the red emergency light for the full 10 minutes it took his systems to reboot, surrounded by 11 ships worth of crew who were all very carefully not making eye contact with him. When navigation came back online, he pointed the fleet away from Relay 7 and said nothing, which was perhaps the loudest thing he had ever communicated. He came back 3 days later. This was, in retrospect, the decision that defined Grev's career. Not the attack itself, but the return. His advisors had suggested, with the careful phrasing of people who valued their continued employment, that perhaps Relay 7 was not the strategic priority they had initially assessed it to be. Grev had listened to these suggestions and then charted a return course anyway, because he had a reputation to maintain and a trophy wall that had never once featured a human installation, and he was not, he told himself repeatedly during the 3-day approach, afraid of a fuel depot. He came in differently this time. Spread formation, maximum jamming, every countermeasure his ships carried running at full capacity. He had spent the 3 days reviewing everything his technical staff knew about human electronic warfare systems and implementing every defense they could devise. Cole hailed him before he reached weapons range. "Warlord Grev, we had a feeling you might be back. I have to say, the new formation is creative." "Fire," Grev said. His lead ship launched a full spread of missiles, 12 of them, the kind that had ended arguments with species far more prepared than a resupply station, streaking toward Relay 7 in a pattern specifically designed to overwhelm point defense systems. He watched them on his tactical display. He watched them slow down. Not intercepted, not destroyed. Slowed, each one caught in something his sensors described as a localized gravitational envelope, decelerating from combat velocity to a complete stop with an almost insulting gentleness. hanging in space between his fleet and the station like 12 pieces of evidence in a case being assembled against him. Cole's voice again, still pleasant. These are nice missiles, very well maintained. We're going to return them now. The 12 missiles rotated in place, their guidance systems apparently entirely comfortable with their new programming, and accelerated back toward Grev's fleet with the same energy they had arrived with. Grev had approximately 3 seconds to process what was happening before his tactical officer screamed something he didn't catch, and his flagship's emergency systems did the only thing they had time to do, which was not nearly enough. The detonation was visible from the station's external cameras. A brief enthusiastic bloom of light at the coordinates where 11 ships had been, followed by the particular silence of a tactical situation that had resolved itself without requiring any further human involvement. Commander Cole watched the sensor readings settle and picked up her coffee. "Log it," she said to her duty officer, "and send a debris field notice to the transit authority. Don't want anyone flying through that." She looked at the display for a moment longer. 11 ships, she said, mostly to herself. For a fuel depot, she shook her head and went back to work. Follow and share this story for more sci-fi shorts. Then drop a comment telling us what you would have said when those missiles turned around.